Hello there, peoples of the internet, once again to another video by me, Crazy Rusky. So first off, not what the video is about, but quick thing I needed to mention, we're at 398 subscribers, so welcome to all the new people. This is because I got a massive shout out from Thin Matrix. If you don't know him, he was making Sakuwan, which is a really awesome MMO. He's now making another game as well called Equilinox, which is awesome. I'll leave a link in the description to his channel. Really awesome guy, check him out, support him, he is fantastic. And he gave me a shout out, and this is the result, from 365 subscribers to 398, almost 400. So thank you, Thin Matrix, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Really, it was a huge boost. And welcome to everybody who's new. You'll see a lot more videos in the upcoming days. But anyway, the main point of the video. I really have been kind of caught up a lot with schoolwork and the college application process. So the result of that is I wasn't able to work too hard on the actual game because it is a huge time dedication, which just I'm not able to, you know, put that much time into it at the moment. Now that SATs are kind of over, for those who have dealt with SATs, you know what that's about. And now that I've kind of got like my essays and all that kind of ready with the application process, I'm going to be able to work a little bit more on it. So that's going to change, and I'm going to start streaming a bit more now. I had to put that on pause, but now I'll really start live streaming more development and stuff like that. So stay tuned for all of that. But the point of the video is, because I wasn't really able to work on that, I still wanted to make a video today. So I want to show off my robotic arm. So 1 second.
Okay guys, so this is my robotic arm, and this is actually the glove that controls it. So the point of this arm and glove thing is that you would put on the glove, right, and you bend your fingers, and the motion of your finger is picked up by the flex sensors here, sent over to the Arduino microcontroller, sent through the XP radio over to this XP radio on the arm, to the Arduino, which then sends the signal to the servos, whichever one is connected to the flex sensor, and that pulls, or it turns and pulls this string. So I'm just doing this manually to show, and voila, you have bent fingers because the string is connected to the finger. So a couple things to note with this hand. First off, cardboard. Why in the world is this made with cardboard when you could just, you know, 3D print it? Especially when, you know, there's a bunch of different models totally up for free that you can download and 3D print, and it would probably be more accurate motion and stuff like that. Well, two things. First off, this was actually a 2-week project, or it started as that. It was way more basic than it is now, but it started as a 2-week project at a camp, and at this camp I didn't have any access to 3D printers, so that was out. And another thing is that actually it was kind of lucky because if I had, you know, had a 3D printer, I obviously would have taken advantage of it, and because I mean that's the path of least resistance, obviously. So I would use that, 3D print an arm, have it totally ready to go. I would just have to assemble some basic things with it, and that would be that. Now, sure, that's fine and dandy and all, but that doesn't really, you know, teach you all that much. The fact that I actually had to make this out of cardboard, so I had to actually take a full piece of cardboard, cut it out. I used my finger as kind of the model for it, so I would, you know, trace around my finger and do all kinds of stuff. The fact that I had to do that is actually like really beneficial because I learned a lot about how these things move. I actually had to like bend paper clips to use as pins, you can see in the sides right there, and as loops to take this thing. The string actually zigzags like top, bottom, up, and that's why it kind of bends it like down and up like that. I had to figure all that stuff out completely by myself. So yeah, that was really helpful. So yeah, pretty happy about that. Another thing is that obviously, as you can see, it's a massive work in progress. This arm only has 3 fingers actually in right now. The thumb I actually have right over here, but obviously it's not attached at all. But you know, still got the bendy things. And yeah, also by the way, this is my horribly messy workspace. So shout out to that. But yeah, so it's very, very work in progress in that aspect. Also, the glove only has 2 flex sensors on it right now. So that means I can only move a maximum of 2 fingers on this thing. But I do want to eventually put in all the other ones. And I mean, I could temporarily connect like the values of this to like multiple different flex sensors, but that's kind of whatever. I don't want to do that. I kind of just want to stick to 1 finger for each finger. And I think currently I have it wired to where it moves this finger and this finger. So yeah. And the final thing is that this LCD screen, and I'll show why I have all this stuff, but this LCD screen obviously is still in a breadboard and it's attached with jumper wires. So that's got to go eventually. I'll eventually be soldering wires directly from this into the inputs in there. And I'll probably have this attached over here on the side of the kind of cufflink type thing. But yeah, I'll show off how it works now. So 1 second. Okay, so the glove. So again, the glove just has these flex sensors which are wired into the Arduino board here. And it also has this LCD screen. So you might be asking, why in the world do I need something like this? Well, when I came home from the camp, I had kind of learned a couple things because I had a couple different people try out the glove. And they said it was really cool and all, but the one thing is that these flex sensors have a certain range of motion. And first off, it varies, you know, from time to time. So certain flex sensors will kind of get out of calibration kind of. So when I coded this thing, I actually had like hard-coded different ranges for the flex sensors. But A, they would change all the time, and B, they would change from user to user because each person kind of bends their fingers a different distance. So these wouldn't be all that accurate. So what I did is I made an auto calibration system. So I'll show that off right now. So when I turn this thing off, or excuse me, when I turn it on, it's just got a little onboard battery pack. And when I turn it on, you see that the LCD kind of comes to life. And when I press this button, it says min 1, 540 primed. So what is that? So minimum 1, so 1 being, this is number flex sensor number 1, minimum value, so I'm setting the minimum value for this, and it's primed, which means it's like ready to go. So I obviously can't push this down completely flat right now, but I'll just show you what happens when I press the button. It gets set. You notice that it changed by a little bit, and that's just what I mean is like I didn't move that at all. And yet, you know, they're very, very kind of jumpy with the values. But so the minimum value of flex sensor 1 has now been set to 535. So that's pretty neat. So then when I press this button again, it toggles to the maximum value of flex sensor 1. And right now, obviously it's reading the same thing because I don't have that bent at all, but 1 second. Okay, so I couldn't really show that on camera because I only have one hand to do this with. But basically, you would bend your finger like that, and you would keep it bent, and then with your other hand, while it's bent, you would hit that button to set the maximum value. So that now, 691, is the maximum value for how far this thing can bend. So then when you press this again, it toggles to the second flex sensor. And as you can see, the minimum value for this is totally different. So you really don't have any kind of consistency with how these flex sensors react. So let me just set all this stuff, or I mean, I can set this here, move on to the next one, I'll bend that, and then we'll put this thing on and try it out. Okay guys, so I've got the glove on. When I finish calibrating, it always kind of spits out this kind of nice animation of like calibration off repeated over and over again on the LCD. By the way, this knob over here to the right of the button is just for changing the contrast on the LCD if you're curious. Anyway, so I've got the flex sensors here and this very twitchy robotic arm. And that's just a matter I need to fix a little bit of, you know, filtering the data that is sent between the 2 radios, because sometimes it kind of sends junk. So that's what they're picking up there. But yeah, so when I bend one finger, so I'll kind of get low here and show you that. So when I bend one finger, there you go, that one bends, release, bend the other finger, release. So when I bend both, and release. Now obviously the fingers aren't going fully bent, and that's because this line is very, very loose, and that's why I need to switch over to fishing line. But anyway, yeah, so I'll just give you one more bend. So bend there, release, bend there, release, bend both, and release. So yeah, that's how the glove works at the moment. So yeah, there we go. So one thing I wanted to talk about also is that these flex sensors, this one actually is pretty good with this, but this one isn't so much, is when you bend them and then release back, they don't really bend fully flat, so that's why I have this line kind of pushing them down, but they don't go fully flattened down. Like you see, this one's still kind of arced when I bend it back. So what I was thinking of is instead of having them on top of your fingers, I could have them underneath on the bottom of my finger, so that when I bend it, I still bend the flex sensors accurately, but then when I come back up, they're limited by bending because they're literally stopped by my finger at the bottom of my finger. So that's an idea I might play around with and see how that works out. But yeah, so there you go. That is my robotic hand. So I'll kind of, let's see if I can do that. And yeah, so bye-bye.